Grand Risings and Blacktastic Greetings, family. This is your Brother Ron, and this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. And I just want to weigh in. First, I want to give my condolences, amplified condolences and blessings, amplified condolences and blessings to the family of the one and only Angie Stone. We really lost a real one. Never met her, but I met her in the soul because she had this wonderful song called Brother that came out back in 2001. And it really touched my heart to hear her sister. It's kind of like it would be the equivalent of Tupac's Keep Your Head Up for Women, the Keep Your Head Up song that Tupac did for the ladies. Angie Stone's Brother was that equivalent for the brothers. And when I heard the news, when I was notified of the news of Angie Stone becoming a righteous ancestor, it really hit me. And it really didn't hit me until my first listen of Brother after I knew she passed. I got in my feelings a little bit listening to this song for the first time after she passed on Saturday morning near Montgomery, Alabama. And the reason why I got such an emotional pull towards that song as well, because music is the soundtrack of our lives, right? That song means a lot to me, not only because it's an amazingly beautiful and transcendent song, but it really was used to celebrate a achievement, a milestone for me, a milestone. I had my first professional one-man art show my senior year in college back in 2002. It was interesting because, little unbeknownst to me, I was excited about helping this at the St. Louis Urban League Art Gallery they had, the Vaughn Cultural Arts Center Art Gallery place. St. Louis Urban League was one of the best, or is one of the best urban leagues, big organizations in the country. It When I was doing business with them, they had a big endowment. And it was interesting how God works, because I didn't realize at the time that the president of the Urban League was this charismatic brother named James Buford, who will become my future cousin-in-law in just a couple of months. But I had no idea that he was over the Urban League. Uh, my great aunt Nan, my father's aunt, his mother's sister, she was a part of the Black Elite, the Black Boule of St. Louis. I had no idea. I just, by God, that I chose that spot to help the art show, and come to find out that I had these very influential relatives and future relatives-in-law, gonna be. But anyway, getting back to that, the black news station from my school, Washington University in St. Louis, Dr. Imani Cheers, her black news show covered my event. They interviewed me and covered the event. And then on the Campuses Network, the TV show played a tribute they did for me and the event. And they used Angie Stone's Brother as the soundtrack for that video. And I don't know if Dr. Cheers still have that video, or somebody got that in the archives for that the black TV show they had on campus. I would love to get a copy of that if possible. But that song, man, every time I hear it, it's like it's the black man's Keep Your Head Up. So the first time upon listening to that song, I was in a public space, so I held back the tears, held myself, kept my composure, and got on with my business. But that's gonna be the theme for me. One of my theme songs for this year is Brother. And I would encourage anyone who never heard that song, or who has heard the song before, to listen to it again, learn the lyrics, and also watch the official video of the black men, very accomplished black men that were featured in that video. And it's sad to think about some of those celebrated black men are now vilified or ridiculed, or they have an asterisk by their legacy. Check out the video. But she did that at a time where black men were not considered, the cream of the crop, so to speak, by the mainstream media, how they portrayed black men in the media at the time in the early 2000s and whatnot. And there's a lot of other things going on, but that's another story for another video. But let me get back to the Angie Stone thing. I just think it's interesting looking at it that some things are not adding up. The math ain't mathing, right? Now, Angie Stone, she died in that horrible car accident. She was the only person out of 9 people to lose her life. 9 people, y'all. She was 63 years old. 63, y'all. 9 people in the sprint, in the sprinter, Mercedes Sprinter. One person lost their life who was 63 years old. 6 plus 3 is 9. 2025 as of to 9. Nines are everywhere. The nines don't lie. Endings and beginnings, right? Endings and beginnings. Now, Angie had a health scare back in December. She had missed one of her tour dates. I think Raheem Devon. She said Raheem Devon, a great R&B singer, really unsung. He's great, and he do a lot of women anthems. But he took her place at the concert in Detroit because she was in the hospital fighting for her life in December. Now, you check out her last lives, right? And she talked about the situation when Universal Music Group, about her royalties and not being given to her. Because what people don't understand or overstand is that not only is Angie Stone considered like the godmother of neo soul, because she actually helped produce and was the inspiration for D'Angelo's debut album. I think it was Brown Sugar, right? And she helped production with that. And she also had a child with D'Angelo, his son, their son, right? And she also was a pioneering hip hop artist. She was part of the first signed hip hop female group in history, The Sequence. They were signed to Sugar Hill Records, to the hip, the hopper, the hipper, the hipper. Listen to their song, Funk You Up. A lot of people owe Angie B some checks. Dr. Dre, Bruno Mars. If you listen to Funk You Up and some of their other songs, you could hear what other people took from the table and never gave them credit for baking the cake. So Angie was talking about how can you work 50 years in a business, in a career, and not have anything to show for it. Like, no, she's touring at 63, not saying that she didn't have a love for performing, but it should be at that age that, I would like to go on tour, but I don't need to go on tour. Like, I don't need to help cover my necessities so I don't have to go out on tour. But if I want to go out on tour, it's because I want to, not because I have to pay some bills or pay my medical insurance or something like that. But she talked about that, frankly, in her live, a recent live that she did a couple months ago, I think in December, after she got out the hospital. Then she talked about in her last live how she was excited about this year, about all the different things that was coming about. I think also that she worked or completed a album back in January. Like, she would talk about in one of her last lives that she was working on an album that should be done by January sometime. So now we're in March. She died on March the 1st, or she was taken away from us on March the 1st. So what is interesting is she also talked about that she believed in God and that she don't know what these people are capable of doing to her to stop her from collecting her money. So she put that out there in the ethers, in the atmosphere, so you can make of it what you want. But I thought it's interesting you think about that, the number 9, how it's significant this year. Number 9 is the nine is the number of endings and beginnings, completing and starting of cycles. And she died at 63. 9. Then you think about Biggie mom, Valletta Wallace, died at 72. 7 plus 2 is 9. Irv Gotti died at 54. 5 plus 4 is 9. And this year will mark the 9th year anniversary of the suspicious homegoing of Afeni Shakur, the mother of Tupac. So she'll be, in a couple months, it'll be 9 years since she passed. So what's going on? Numbers don't lie. Numbers tell the story. Numbers run the universe, right? So you're like, what's wrong with all these 9? But also you got to think about this. Think about the people that who tried to expose or who had exposed the industry from recent memory. People like Michael Jackson, people like Prince, people like Barry White, a lot of people. And look how they died. And like my Jegna would say, the late great Emerson Abel Jr., one of the greatest band directors the city of Memphis has ever seen. Isaac Hayes, his high school band director, kicked Isaac Hayes out the high school band. Then ended up working for Isaac at Stax, and the founder or co-founder of the Southern Heritage Classic, an annual event that brings in millions for the city of Memphis, that he actually founded in his living room, but gets no credit for, which is interesting. And this year will mark his 10-year anniversary of becoming a righteous ancestor. He said, nobody dies a natural death in show business. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. When I thought about the passing of our sister, Angie Stone, the way she died, it reminded me of what happened to the Empress of the Blues, Bessie Smith, how she died in a horrible car accident near Clarksdale, Mississippi, September 26, 1937. And she was 43 years young, 4 plus 3 is 7. How Lisa Lopez, left eye of TLC fame, how she died in a car accident, which the car flipped several times over, and she had a fractured skull. And she was the only person, not the people in the car, that actually died. And Bessie Smith was the only person in her car who died. She had a gentleman, I think her boyfriend or whatever, driving, I believe, and she was the only one that died. So it's interesting, like in these scenarios, that the only people that die are the women who are the musicians. You know, Lisa Left Eye talked about how they were taken advantage of by the industry. You know, Clive Davis, people, Arista, all that stuff, LaFace, all that. I don't know. Just look it up. Take a look. It's all online, allegedly. You know, TLC, one of the most successful, if not the most successful girl group of all time. Not having a dime, a nickel, or a penny to rub against. That was insane, but Lisa was vocal about that. Angie has been vocal about her situation. And Bessie Smith, one of the pioneers of American music, you know they took advantage of Bessie. Come on now. So let's go without saying. You know, what unfortunately what's interesting is the fact that what we gonna do about it, people? Black people, what are we gonna do about it? You know, just keep on happening. We're losing, like, a lot of our icons have been lost under questionable circumstances. Think about the way they get them through transportation. Think about Otis Redding. It is March the 3rd, 2025. And we do not know officially how Otis Redding's plane went down into that lake in Wisconsin. We don't have the official cause of why it went down. But what I do know, when I talk to old heads, like I talked to Mr. Abel and people like that, they will say about Otis, because they knew Otis working at Stax. Otis was, you know, very intelligent dude. He was a very sharp businessman. He actually had enough sense to own his own music, like his publishing. You know, he wrote the song "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay." He wrote the "Respect" song, which he recorded before Aretha, but Aretha made it her anthem, but it was written by Otis Redding. That was his song. Matter of fact, I believe Jerry Wexler made reference to that song when he eulogized Otis at his homegoing down in Georgia back in the late 60s. I believe he did. And but the thing about it is, Otis wanted to let everybody know what he was doing. Some people say, well, you know, Otis was so, you know, I talked to a trusted friend. He's gone now. He talked about Otis, saying Otis was real stupid. Well, I think he was saying he was not stupid. He was very intelligent because he was a great business person. He owned a 300-acre farm, the big old ranch that he's buried on. But he would let people know everything that he was trying to do or was going to do. And there's an urban legend. Now, I heard from throughout the years that Otis allegedly did a press conference saying that black music will be controlled by black artists from now on. That we will control the distribution of the music. Did that sound familiar? Did that sound some Michael Jackson, Sam Cooke, Prince? Think about what Irv and Suge Knight and Jay Prince were trying to do, where they try to control the distribution. Look what happened to them. All them caught cases or was getting, under heavy surveillance by the feds. The feds is watching. The feds is watching. The feds is watching, man. So what that said is that they said Otis did a press conference. I don't know if it's true, but James Brown's son, who wrote a book about his father, he said years later that the plan, because Otis was close to James Brown. They were close, as far as I know, based on what I researched. But James Brown's son said, when he was being interviewed by Oliver Stone's son on Oliver Stone's son's show, that Otis and James Brown was going to start their own distribution label, control black soul music. And next thing you know, the plane goes down. And nobody knows how it went down, but the only person that survived the plane crash was a brother named Ben Cauley, one of the original Barcades. He was a gifted trumpet player. He's the only person that survived the plane crash in the plane with Otis Redding. And guess what, folks? He could not even swim. And that water, had he been in that water long enough, he would have froze to death. But somehow he was able to survive. The only person, I guess, I don't say the only person, but he could not swim. And yet he survived that crash. But then getting back to the Angie Stone thing, family, what can we really do about it? Y'all was boycotting Target last week or whatever, and other places for DEI. But what about how this industry, this music industry, because even I remember a couple years back, see, y'all could run this back, when Puffy and Jay-Z, I remember Jay-Z criticized the Grammys for not awarding Beyonce record of or album of the year. And then I remember when Jay-Z and Puffy was talking about they putting the music industry on notice that y'all gotta pay the black artists that y'all exploited. Y'all remember that? Is that a Mandela effect that Jay-Z and P. Diddy was coming out about, talking against you biting the hand that fed you, y'all. Y'all was made billionaires by exploiting your people, alcohol, suggestive lyrics and beats. But I'm a fan. I listen to the music. But what I'm saying is, it's interesting. Soon as Jay-Z and Diddy started getting vocal about how the industry was treating black artists, that's when they started catching cases and all types of notoriety they did not want. So what I'm saying with this is that, Angie, nobody wasn't checking for Angie like that until she started seeing, talking about this stuff. Like she knew that she was on borrowed time. Like she said, I may not get the money, but maybe her grandchildren, her children, great grands could get this money. But something needs to be talked about as it relates to this industry. How can a person sell this much and make so much memorable music that resonates with generational music, and not get the love and the compensation for it? This is something that needs to be seriously discussed, because historically speaking, it's been taken advantage of black Americans. And I'm sure Angie Stone could trace her people all the way to before the beginning of this republic. She's from Columbia, South Carolina. My folks are from South Carolina, Mississippi, North Carolina. We are black American natives. What is interesting, I'm going to leave with this, it's kind of off subject, but it's not off subject. President Trump recently pardoned Rod Blagojevich, the former Illinois governor. When Obama became president, he went to prison. He was on The Apprentice for Trump. He pardoned him. I bring him up not because of him personally, but it is interesting to know that his father was an immigrant that came over because of World War II. He was allowed to come to this country because of World War II, what Hitler and all them were doing to his people. They gave him asylum in America. He became a naturalized citizen, whatever that process is. But within a generation, his father's first language wasn't English, but his son, within one generation, can become a governor of a major U.S. state. To date, black folks, we've been on here forever, right? Black American natives. I call us black American natives. This I call our lineage, Black American natives. That makes a lot of sense, right? Been in the USA. How many Black American native governors have we had? Only two. Only two. We've been here all this time, fought in every major war. Only two. That's Douglas Wilder in Virginia and Deval Patrick up in Massachusetts, whose father was the late Patrick, or Pat Patrick, I believe, who was a gifted baritone saxophonist and composer, arranger. He decided to choose to be with Sun Ra instead of his family. He ran away from his family to get with the legendary Sun Ra and the Sun Ra Orchestra. But his son, it worked out for his son, and his father and son made amends. But anyway, just want to put that on y'all minds. If you like the words from Brother Hurd, y'all know what to do. Please spread the word. More to come. The words of Great Skeleton. We love you madly. Words of Brother Ron. Keep on producing and pushing. One love. They're playing basketball. They're playing basketball. And also, family, let me add this. Angie Stone was actually on her way back to her home of Atlanta, Georgia, to catch a flight to sing at the halftime show. She was the halftime entertainment for the CIAA halftime show. That's the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association. They was having a basketball tournament in Bmore, Tubman City, Baltimore. How they do that there? How they do that there, right? Well, I think about that was interesting. Like several years ago, Young Dolph was slated to perform for the CIAA in Charlotte, North Carolina. That infamous song he did, 100 Shots. His black SUV was fired upon on Saturday, February 25th, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. There's 9 again. 100 Shots, right? Young Dolph on February 25th. So, I mean, it's interesting. And people said, why was she on the road? She was coming back, from the Mobile performance, right? Mobile is where they had the first Mardi Gras in this nation's history. It was not started in New Orleans, but in Mobile, Alabama. Look up Africa Town as well down in Mobile. But that's something interesting to think about. What is it with these CIAA tournaments? CIA? I'm just playing. I'm just got my tinfoil kufi on here, but it is just fascinating. These interesting connections. Because, what if she had got on that plane and something horrible happened on the plane? Man, what would... I don't even want to think about it. Take care. God bless. One love again. One love.